I believe that leading a healthy keto lifestyle doesn't mean that you have to deprive yourself on good Italian focaccia bread. The problem is that you can't use gluten, yeast, or really any of the classic ingredients. But how do you make it delicious and something that anyone is going to want to eat? The former pharmacist in me loves to experiment. Sometimes I find gold, sometimes not so much. I took a failed pizza crust recipe and turned it into a flat focaccia bread. And I did it without any of the ingredients found in traditional focaccia. For this easy 15-minute twist on the classic focaccia, we've got a problem using all almond flour because those carbs can add up quickly. To get around this, I use lupin flour since it's mostly fiber. It's how you can keep each piece under 2 grams of carbs. But one thing I noticed is that it gives a hint of cornmeal flavor. Not that that has anything to do with traditional focaccia, but it actually tastes good with Italian flavors. Traditional focaccia bread is made using flours with high gluten contents. It's what gives the bread its good elasticity. It'll help trap in those air bubbles from the yeast as it bakes. And that's how you get those air holes within bread. Since this focaccia is gluten-free, we use 3 tablespoons of protein powder to form that elastic structure in our dough to trap those air bubbles formed by the 1 teaspoon of baking powder, which is our leavening agent in this recipe. We also need to add a half a teaspoon of xanthan gum for a little extra elasticity and a half a teaspoon of salt for flavor. Add in 1 tablespoon of melted butter and crack in 2 eggs. Mix this together until a dough forms. And at some point, you're going to have to knead the dough to get all of your ingredients incorporated. Just make sure you don't over-knead or it can make your dough too tough. To go with my anything but authentic focaccia bread, I'm making an Italian cream soda. But instead of using those sugary syrups for flavor, I'm going to use sugar-free electrolytes by Element instead. Which flavor? They have raspberry, citrus, orange, watermelon, chocolate. Let's go with orange. Trust me when I say that you want to add your electrolytes to the glass first and then pour it into your soda water. Don't add them straight to your can or bottle. That was not my brightest moment. Element has a science-backed electrolyte formula of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. It sounds like a lot, but you actually require more if you're on a low-carb diet or if you do any sort of strenuous job or activity like landscaping. Right now, Element is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serving packets free with any Element order. It's a great way to try all 8 flavors. Head to drinkelement.com/KetoFocus. This deal is only available through my link, so head there after, but first, let's finish up this focaccia. I like to roll out my dough because it makes it an even shape. To keep the parchment paper from sliding when I use a rolling pin, lay down a damp piece of paper towel first. Then sandwich the dough in between the 2 pieces of parchment. I'm trying to keep a rectangle shape here so that it looks more like focaccia bread. And you want it about 1/2 inch thick. This bread will rise a bit. And if you're thinking that this dough looks a lot like pizza crust, well, you're right. That's what I was originally trying to make. I just didn't really like the texture of it for a pizza crust. But that's the beauty of science. Sometimes disasters turn it into beautiful surprises. To give this bread that sheen that most focaccia has, I'm going to paint a touch of egg white on here so that it gives it a crust. To prevent the dough from rising too quickly in traditional focaccia, they put those dimples in there. Here, we don't have to worry about that, but you should still put those dimples in because otherwise nobody else is going to know what this is. Use your fingers or a round utensil or this thingy. This is from a immortal pestle. That's wrong. You don't have to tell me I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. To decorate my focaccia, I'm sprinkling on a rosemary flavored flaky salt and then some Italian seasonings. And you can add other toppings like Parmesan cheese, olives, garlic. We're gonna bake this at 350 degrees for 10 minutes. But to get that nice golden crust on top, place it under the broiler for a few minutes until it turns golden. Traditional focaccia is sprinkled with olive oil before it's baked, but I'm adding it afterwards for flavor. Plus it looks prettier. My favorite way to have this is dipped in marinara, which yeah, I guess you could use this for pizza crust, especially if you like a bready crust. But if you're like me and you want a pizza crust that's crunchy on the outside, but chewy on the inside, well then you must make my famous keto pizza crust right here.